Hello, everyone. I first wanted to take a moment to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us today for today's call. My name is Brad Lewis, and I'm with Premier Marketing. We're going to spend the next 30 to 40 minutes with you today and discuss a great new product that's came to the market for final expense through CVS Health. But before we get started on that, I wanted to introduce you a little bit to Premier and just give you a few details on Premier if you don't know us, and introduce you to the team as well. So on the final expense side of our business, we have a team of experts that have long tenure here at Premier. They work very, very hard to earn your business each and every day and to take care of you and your business as well. So just to introduce you to the folks there, we have Nate Dowd, Yanni Laborde, Tom Otto, and Rick Stoliker, all with Premier. And like I mentioned, they are top-notch marketers here at Premier. They've been with us a very long time. They all know the ins and outs of products and are here to help you be successful in the final expense side of the business. One of the other things I wanted to share with you is a few of the value adds that we have by working with Premier to make sure that you're familiar with them and that you can use them to support your final expense business as well. We do have carrier toolboxes. So the carrier toolboxes are a really simplified tool that you can use that gives you all the features and benefits of all the products that we represent. And so after today's call, one of the things you can ask the marketers when you call in to ask more about the CVS Health final expense product is to have them send you that toolbox to help support your sales there. We also help you in your business with our lead programs that we have. So we have Facebook leads that you can order. We have digital statewide leads that you can order. And then we also have direct mail leads. And new to our business as far as the direct mail leads is we actually have price per leads. So actually you can order 20 guaranteed direct mail leads, which we all know direct mail leads are the best leads in the business. And we support your business by providing lead co-op dollars. So the more business you write with Premier, the more we help support and pay for your lead costs as well. And then on our website, you can also find the quoting tools that we have available there as well, so you can see what product is the best fit for your clients. But generally, you're going to want to talk to the marketers. So you're going to want to talk to Nate, Yanni, Tom, and Rick, find out what product best fits for your business and what you're looking for and what supports you the best as well. And make sure you have those conversations with them so they can help you and guide you along the way and make sure you're most successful in the final expense business. So with that, I want to introduce Mark Steuben. Mark Steuben is our Vice President of Sales for Life and Annuities at Integrity. Mark has been very instrumental in the rollout of this CVS Health final expense product, and we're excited to share that story with you today about why this product is a great fit for your business and will definitely be a great fit for years to come as well. So with that, I want to turn it over to Mark. Mark, take it away.
Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. And just like Brad said, we appreciate you all taking the time to be here today. I know it's official kickoff to AEP season, and the fact that we have so many people with us today is fantastic. But it is an exciting story that we're really thrilled to be able to share with you about the perfect addition to your portfolio with our exclusive new final expense product with CVS Aetna. So we're going to jump right in. And I know we do have a large crowd here today, so I'm sure that we all have different backgrounds in this business, and there's probably some extremely seasoned producers in this final expense market that are here to learn about something new that's been launched. But I'm sure that we have some producers that are more on the health side that are thinking, I need to get into this final expense marketplace. It's growing. I hear so much about it. I need to add it to my portfolio of products. So I do want to be able to address kind of first off the need for final expense. And really, it's such a huge opportunity because final expense serves middle America. And middle America is that largest underserved market. There's so many people chasing after the mass affluent and the affluent, which is difficult because a lot of the tax laws and things that are out there have kind of stripped away some of the value of the products that we've had for years and years. But this is a vibrant, growing opportunity that I'm so glad that you all took the chance to listen in and be a part of. How big is it? Well, 46% of Americans don't have an individual policy. They may not have enough insurance, or they may have insurance and it's just not the right kind of product that really serves their needs. Here's the statistics that I know you've all heard for probably 15 years, because I know I have, and that is that 10,000 Americans are turning 65 every day. But I want to add something to that Limra added to that I think is really powerful, and that is that 10,000 people will be turning 65 every day for the next 15 years. So I think of that in the terms of myself. For the rest of my career, I could be working in this marketplace that's vibrant, growing every day, serving needs, and fulfilling that purpose of what I do for a living. And it's something I'm really proud of. If you look at the right-hand side of the slide, there's a stat here that says 59% of Americans would borrow or struggle to cover a $1,000 emergency expense. Years ago, I led sales distributions at Transamerica, and we had this financial literacy presentation that we would train on. And this was only going back 7 or 8 years, probably, that was a tool that we used. And that number at the time was about 51% of Americans didn't have this amount of money to cover if times of needs. And if you think of 330 million Americans in our country, to move a needle 8% says something. What it says to me is, although I watch a lot of TV, I watch the media pundits, I watch everything, and I know that the Dow has done very well during the pandemic, and the S&P, NASDAQ has all done well. There's been some record highs. I know that things are better on Wall Street, but what I also know is that things aren't right on Main Street. We have an opportunity here to help a lot of people that are in a lot of need. We could be selling term insurance to a lot of folks, and that's probably, for pennies on the dollar, the best value there is. It allows you to get the most amount of coverage at the cheapest cost. But we know that only 2% of those policies ever pay out, and 98% we outlive. And the one stat that no one needs to be reminded of is that 100% of us are going to die, and someone's going to pay. So this is a chance, this final expense industry, to make a positive difference. There's no financial product in the world that can do what life insurance does. And so I thank you all for taking the time here today. With the pandemic, everything that's going on, it gives us a chance to learn more and more, and take a pause. And I appreciate you doing that today. But the power here that we're really going to talk about is CVS Health and Ascendo and the product they brought to the table. It's a unique opportunity to add this new brand. The statistic that really shocks me is that 70% of Americans live within 3 miles of a CVS pharmacy. Now, I live in a rural state, and I live out in the country, and I just did my MapQuest type of deal this morning because I was guessing I was 9 miles away from one. I'm actually 5.8 miles away from the nearest CVS in a rural state. It just goes to show that I remember there was days that it used to say how close, and I don't remember the number, how close you live to McDonald's. But this number to me is just staggering, how many CVSs are out there. And it was voted America's most trusted drugstore by Reader's Digest in a national survey. And I think that's powerful. The consumers you work with are buying you. They are buying the skills that you bring to the table, the trust that you bring, the knowledge that you have. But a lot of the carriers out there, and we know this, a lot of insurance companies and a lot of financial institutions, although unbelievable companies, some of them have some issues with their brand and trust and loyalty. And that, a lot of that stems back from 2007, 2008. But to bring a name that people trust only helps strengthen your story and brings credibility to me of the power of what you've already bringing to the table to help them. So again, also thank you to Premier for inviting me today. If you haven't worked with Yanni and Rick and Tom and Nate, take that opportunity. They are very seasoned marketers. They have all the resources trained. They know this business inside and out. You have a powerful team there behind you. So let's talk a little bit about the product and what really makes it unique. And this one is the home run in this industry, and that is a final expense product with a super preferred rate available to your clients. Now, a lot of us on this call, even if we do just final expense, probably do sell some Medicare supplements, and Aetna is one of the biggest brands out there. So when we went to the design table to this, they said to us, why don't we do this? Why don't we take, if somebody buys a fully underwritten Medicare supplement with Aetna in the last 6 months and say their health is good and they get preferred on the final expense, we will give them a super preferred rate and a 10% discount on that final expense product. And we thought, wow, that's a game changer. And so, just simple terms, if a premium is $1,000, the client gets 10% off, only pays $900. But take it a step further, and they realized the value of the agent and producer in that situation and said, but we need them to be whole. We charge the client $900, but we're going to base commissions, full commissions on that $1,000. It just showed how much they really understood this whole process and how business is done. So I'm going to throw out 3 more statistics that make this such a much bigger opportunity. And that is that 14 million Americans have a Medicare supplement policy, and 44% of them are going to shop that policy every year and look at rates. Just using some simple math, that's over 6 million people. Now, 10% of them are going to make a change, but even if they don't make a change on that Medicare supplement policy, the audience that it opens up for you is huge. And you're going to see as we go through this process, the application is very simple. You'll know after visiting with the folks at Premier, the commissions are really competitive, very strong and fair. It's just a great product all around. But that super preferred rate is a game changer. Let's look at a couple other things that I'm going to talk through on here. An easy quoting process in 2 ways. First off, they have a great mobile quoting process. And we know, I don't have the data on this, but I can venture to guess that for most of us, that thing is tied to our hip day and night, all the way up to when we shut it off to go to bed at night. So the ability to have the mobile quoting is huge. But also, when you start the EApp process and you do the quote, you'll put the key information of the client in there, it's nice. It carries that over to the application for you. But when you do the quote, it's just right there at the beginning. And so the client will see, here's what if you're preferred, what it would cost, standard or modified. They also, and it's not part of the quoting process, it's part of this bullet, there's no height and weight chart. I've been in this business a long time, and the only other question I find more uncomfortable is asking people's net worth, especially when you're dealing with friends and stuff. But height and weight is a very difficult question to ask anybody as well. And the fact that that's not a question on here to me is huge. It's also important to me personally because my ideal weight would be right there if I was about 9 foot tall. So I think it's a valuable piece of this process of the product that was built. It also serves a huge market. You can go one of the youngest issue ages in the industry at age 40, as well as one of the highest at age 89. So many families that you can help when it's that broad. Flexible coverage amounts. This can be issued down to $2,000. And you may say, well, the average final expense policy is much larger than that. But what about the opportunity, if somebody already has coverage, to give them some supplemental insurance? The ability to go in a lower face amount is a great opportunity to do that, and we shouldn't discount that opportunity. But it also has high amounts of coverage available too, and I'm just going to read that off to you real fast. From somebody age 40 to 55, you can go up to 50,000. 56 to 65 is 40,000. 66 to 75 is 30, and then that 76 to 89 is 25,000. Very competitive face amount for a product that's easy to use, no height and weight, and very competitively priced. We also know that for the last, 15 years plus, maybe 20, the number one way that people have bought their insurance is through the automatic withdrawal system in their checking account on a monthly basis. Not going to probably change at all in the near future, But this also has the flexibility for that consumer that is on Social Security and gets that deposit on the second Wednesday of the month. Well, we'll just match it up with that and do the draft on the second Wednesday of the month. So having that flexibility and that schedule is just another tool that allows consumer flexibility, but also helps with persistency on your end because you're hitting the account at the time that's the best fit for the client. So we also know since they have super preferred, you got to have a preferred rate and a standard rate for an immediate benefit, and then they have a modified rate for a modified benefit. So let's talk about the riders. And one of the things, again, I've noticed in the industry and helping with product builds is that a lot of times those of you in the field sometimes don't look as closely at some of the riders. I personally, when I sell, sometimes I forget about the riders. But I want to tell you there's some power here with what's offered, especially in the world that we live in today. And the first one is the child-grandchild rider. That rider allows up to 9 kids or grandkids to be added to the product. And we know that we live in an environment where a lot of parents are taking care of grandparents and kids. We live in an environment where there's a lot of grandparents still taking care of their adult children and then along with that, grandkids. It's just the way the environment is and kind of how the world has changed over the last 30 or 40 years. So it's really powerful to have that option. You can do it in $2,500 increments from $25,000 to $10,000. The child must be 30 days to their 18th birthday. And then at ages 22 to 25, as long as the policy's been in force 2 years, they can convert that up to 5 times the amount, up to $35,000. I often share this story, and it's not 100% applicable, but my mom had a policy that she would always tell us about over the years that her grandfather bought for her. The year she was born in 1936, it was a 10-cent a week debit policy for $5,000 in coverage. And just to complete the story, over the years, I had helped my parents buy some more insurance, but what their son had done to help meant it just paled into comparison that her grandfather bought her that. It's actually interesting as a side note, when she passed away, I kept that policy. They're so ornate, those old policies back in the 30s and 40s. It's just a gorgeous policy as a side note. But even up to when she was her last days, that she had some cognitive ability, she knew she was towards the end. She had said, "Don't forget, I have that policy from my grandpa." And what I think that illustrates is the power that people feel when they can help others in their family. It just, that rider, not only does it serve a benefit for the consumers and their kids, but we also know that especially during this time, as I said, we know things aren't always the best on Main Street, that sometimes there's some consumers that sadly will look at their insurance premium as discretionary. If times get tough, that's something they cut out. And it kills us all. I know that, to hear those things and to see it, but it does happen. And so one of the powerful things is that if you knew that decision was going to impact your kids and even more importantly, a grandkid, and take something from them, you may find a way. And I think it not only helps with persistency, but it just completes the story and power of what they purchased. There's also a rider on here for accelerated death benefit up to 50% if they are terminally ill and have less than 12 months to live. They could get, for no cost, up to access to $15,000 on an immediate benefit product. So maybe they want to use some of that money while they're still alive to do something with their family. A lot of us have experienced families do that. What a gift that is while they're still alive. So I think there's power in reminding clients there's access to that. And then there's also an accidental death rider that doubles the payout if life cuts short due to an accident. And that's issued from 40 to 70. It ends at age 75, but on immediate benefit only. And that is a cost. One of the last things I will say about the product is that there's only a couple variations. In Washington, there's a $5,000 minimum face amount. And Pennsylvania and potentially in Florida, we're getting close to bringing Florida out, has a disclosure form. But the fact is that all the other states have the same application and forms. And having done what you have all done in the field, there's nothing worse than getting somewhere and realizing there's a state form and you don't have it. And I say that because having done that, I love the fact there's a lot of uniformity in the product. A broad national footprint. This map is a little outdated and I didn't get it updated, so don't go ahead and not worry about the shades of red. But if you look at all the states in red, they're all approved. We did just add Washington, North Dakota, South Dakota, Pennsylvania, and Delaware last week. So those states are all now in the red as well. And so the only states we have left to get approvals in are California, Michigan, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Florida, which is very close. You can see on this state, New York is in this light shade of gray. We are not filing in the state of New York. I'm sure a lot of you know New York has so many different rules and regulations. And just like with most, we decided not to add that. So 44 states, including the District of Columbia, though, are available for sale today. I want to talk a few minutes about the EApp process because it's second to none. What they built here is phenomenal. So it allows for a point of sale decision and an e-signature. And we know that e-signature is really important in today's environment. So to start with, the EApp is a cascading app. Some of you also may know it as a waterfall app. So when you start the questions in the first section, if somebody were to answer yes to one, it's going to say, oh, we're going to stop you here. This is now the best we can do is a standard application, or standard approval. Then you go through those questions, and if there's a yes or two, then it could move to a modified contract. So it does kind of help you walk through the process. But what's great is at the end of the medical questions, there's an opportunity to maybe go in and tweak that face amount or premium because you did that at the first part of the illustration with the quoting process. So maybe that client is on a budget and says, this is really what I want to spend. You're trying to maximize the amount of coverage for them. You can make those changes and show the client how much death benefit it would be or how much that cost would be, which I think is a powerful tool. Also, if you're writing that Medicare supplement policy at the same time or was written before and you did an EApp, that information is all saved and it pre-populates your application. Saves a little bit in the process. And then lastly, it's a great process for phone sales. This COVID-19 has made insurance sales a little bit of a challenge. There's a lot of our consumers that just maybe aren't comfortable having people in their homes. We can understand that. There's also probably a lot of us on this phone call that maybe aren't really comfortable always being in somebody's home. We've been very creative. We have found a way to maybe do applications outside or wear our mask or distance ourselves in the process. But a lot of carriers were left during this time to kind of scramble to find a way to be able to keep selling products with the EApp, with the email signature. And I will say, Aetna's is fantastic. So most carriers have that process that says you're all complete. You send an email to the client recognizes it, agrees to everything, signs it, will send an email back to you. That finishes your process and you can submit it. Nothing wrong with that process at all. If you think about where we've come in the industry, that's amazing. But what Aetna has said is that you can ask that client a security question. What's your favorite lunch meat? You put in bologna because that's their answer, and that's their question to it. It's saved. That is their signature process. And that is, to me, is very simple. There's no emailing back and forth. You do have to, at the beginning of a process, you'll see on the right-hand side an example of a screenshot where it's got the premium in green, a total of $13.32. There's a button over there that says send e-kit. When you start the process and you're doing it over the phone, you send them that so they have the information up front. It allows you to do that signature process. Now, it will allow you to do the email one back and forth as well, whatever you're comfortable with. But that option, to me, is a game changer. The other game changer is this. There's a lot of times you go out and you take an application. Some of us are still comfortable with paper. Maybe you go somewhere and they don't have Wi-Fi, or it's maybe in a rural section and the internet connection is kind of spotty. It comes and goes. Or maybe that consumer you can just tell is not comfortable when you're typing everything into your computer, would just feel better if they saw you doing the writing on a paper application. That's okay. You can go back to your office after that, enter all the information in the EApp process, click that you saw them face to face because you did, and then get an instant decision at the end of the process when that's all done. So the evening you could go back, finish it, be done, the policy is getting mailed out. You save the application in your files and you're done. You don't send it in, the process is over. We absolutely think that when you try this process a couple times, you're going to do it over and over and over again. It's fantastic. And Aetna was so confident, they've said if you issue and pay 3 cases by the end of the year, they will send you an additional $200, which is a great incentive that's out there today. Lots of marketing materials, all the things that you normally would see out there. They've done an amazing job putting it together. Reach out to the folks at Premier and have them help you get access to that when you get appointed. We're coming off Life Insurance Awareness Month where more awareness was created. What a great time to do some marketing to your consumers. I don't think you should ever discount in this marketplace that ability to use the materials. In this market, consumers want something tangible that's left behind. Something they can put in that file cabinet or in a drawer, show their kids what they purchased. We're in a business where we don't sell anything tangible. We sell promises. We sell a promise that when something happens to them, that the carrier and all of you on this call are going to be there to take care of their family with a check to help, them with any of their future needs. And so the tool here is really important. One of the other things that's in there is it discusses the cost of a funeral and breaks it down. For those of you that are, that sell a lot of family expense, that it's not just the burial that's a cost. There is so many more costs to a funeral that add up that the average cost does get to be potentially around $18,000 when you look at the nation as a whole. Some places are a little cheaper, but some are more expensive. But I think that's a eye opener to a lot of the consumers that you're talking to. There isn't a week that goes by sometimes it feels like that you see a younger person dying, maybe they have a young family, and there is a great tool with GoFundMe to help that family out, but that's not a solution. It's a gift that it's there to help a family in need, but we owe it to all of our clients to have a conversation about life insurance, to ask them if their needs are met, if they have a plan, or if it needs to be revisited. I often feel this business is a business of sharing stories. I think it's short stories when you sell an intangible product that help consumers relate to what we do. So I want to share one with you. I've been in this business. This is my 25th year. And over my years of leading sales distributions, I've worked on some big cases in my life. And one of the things that people have said to me is, you're so passionate about final expense, but that policy is not very big. Is it really helping? And I will tell you, I think, in my opinion, final expense is why I still have a family that I'm close to today. I had sold my parents a small policy to help them, even though mom had the one from grandpa. I get it. I will always understand that and be reminded of it. But I did sell them a smaller policy. And my parents 3 years ago died 6 months apart. I have 2 older brothers, 18 years older and 15 years older than me. I have come to understand that probably wasn't a plan in my parents' plan of life, but I know they love me the same. But I'm not that close to my brothers. And quite honestly, they were close in age, just close enough that they aren't even that close. So I remember about a month or 2 before my mom passed away, she really slipped at the end. She brought us together and said, hey, I know that in your lives you boys haven't gotten along, but it would mean everything to your dad and I if you found a way to get along going forward. And of course, us three boys weren't going to disappoint Mom. We all looked at her and said, absolutely. But I know I did, and I'm sure my brothers doubted that was going to happen. But when this policy was done, one of the things that was all taken care of when my mom and dad did pass away was the funerals and everything associated with that. And it allowed my brothers and I to grieve, brought us closer. We weren't worried about one brother that couldn't pay his share or, how everything was going to work out. But it's amazing that policy wasn't very big, but it did exactly what we wanted to do. And to this day, my middle brother is now the grandfather to my 13 and 11-year-old kids. He spoils them rotten, calls them on their birthday, and sings to them just like my parents did. And my older brother calls all the time and has us over to go swimming and kayaking and different activities that now my kids have two grandpas, in a sense. And so to me, it's that policy that allowed us when time was tough to bring us together. And to this day, we're closer than we ever have been. And I just think it's the power of what we have. And I think it's the power of what you bring to the table to never discount, no matter the cost, the face amount, or what it does. There is just no better product out there in what it does today. I do personally feel that what CVS built here is the perfect addition to your portfolio. Tap in to that name recognition. Tap into the fact that people trust it. Use that power with the power of what you bring day in and day out to the table. And I will tell you what Ascendo and CVS and Aetna put together here is second to none. And then leverage the skill set of those marketers at Premier. I've worked with them over my career back to Transamerica now for over 10 years. And they're all still there. They're phenomenal marketers. They know this business inside and out. They know the nuances, can help you with leads. Call Rick, Nate, Tom, Yanni, any of them today. Get set up and get going. Don't let this pass you by. If you're on the fence and you were on that health side and you're thinking about adding this product, it'll be the best decision you made. For those of you that sell this product day in and day out, I just can't thank you enough for what you do to help families out. It's a noble profession that I hope more and more people enter. The market's there. The opportunity has never been better. We're in a terrible situation with the global pandemic. But one of the things that it has brought to light to a lot of people, sadly, and a lot of families, is our mortality. And it is a great opportunity to get in front of people and help them protect and make sure that families will be able to have the opportunities that they had going before the pandemic going forward. So, Brad, I'm going to toss it back to you. I don't know if we have any questions or final thoughts, but I'll hand it back to you.
Hey, thanks, Mark. That was amazing presentation. I really appreciate you doing this for us today. CVS really paints a great story to your clients, and the way Mark tells the story of CVS and the final expense and makes it all resonate with all of us makes it that much easier for us to relate it to our clients as well. I didn't mention at the beginning of the call, but if you have any questions, type them into the chat box and we'll get to them real quick here. We do have a few, Mark, so I'm going to get to those here real quick. And Tim asked if there's a point of sale interview for this process.
There is not a point of sale interview through this process. Now, the carrier at any time, depending on maybe a script check that would come back, could always reserve the right, but there's no intention to do point of sale underwriting interviews.
Perfect. And then a few around the state approval. California, we're still waiting on to hear more back about them, but Florida's getting really close. Can you expand upon that at all, or is there any info you can share there?
Yes, actually, Florida is very close. They are just working on their end to do some system changes and get ready to launch it. There is an outside chance that it's going to get launched before the end of the year here, so stay tuned.
Perfect. And let's see here. There's a couple other questions popping in here real quick, so let me just make sure I get them. We are recording, so if you missed out on part of the webinar today, just contact one of the marketers and they'd be happy to get you a replay on it. And then Fran had a question about the point of sale. Because all the Aetna products are built into that point of sale tool. So how to navigate that? Is it one application or one point of sale place?
That is a great question. So there is, when you go into the tool on the EApp process, it will have an ability to look at Medicare supplement, final expense, even their cancer policies, all their policies, and you click a drop down. Now, the Medicare supplement and the final expense are different applications. However, when you go into the final expense, there will be two options. There will be one that says Ascendo final expense, and there could be one that says American Continental final expense, which is an older product that they used to have that's still on the shelf. Make sure you click on the Ascendo final expense product, is the one that we just launched and discussed today.
Perfect. Thanks for covering that, because I know that gets a little confusing when there's two of them there. So
it does, yeah.
As far as getting contracted, you can reach out to your marketer here at Premier. If you don't have a marketer currently, just ask for one, and the front desk or the team will get you over to a marketer right away. Michigan, any word on Michigan yet, Mark?
Ascendo did not have a license for life insurance in Michigan, so they are that has all been filed. A lot of carriers, because they are fairly new, this is a new product portfolio for them, so they had to do some of that first, and then the product can be approved. So I would say Michigan almost certainly will probably move to the very first part of 2021 here next year.
All righty. And as far as contracting, if you're currently contracted with Aetna, then this product is automatically added to your contract, as long as you have the Med Supp line of business. But if they just have a Med Advantage number, then they need to add that additional contract. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And as far as voice signature approved for Aetna?
No, they have the closest thing is just the security question, where you would ask the security question, they give you the answer, and you type it in. So that would be the easiest signature process in a non-face-to-face format.
Yeah, and that is really slick. When Nate, Tom, and Rick and Yanni are talking about that, that's the biggest thing they talk about, is how easy that process is for the agent to go through with the client. It just makes the signature part really, really simple. And let's see here. Connecticut, as far as approval, when that would be available, or if that's in the loop yet, but it's not there yet. Is that correct?
Correct.
And let's see here. Everybody's asking for the phone number, so let me make sure I provide that to you. So the phone number for Premier is 800-365-8208. And again, the marketers on that line of business for final expense is Tom, Nate, Rick, and Yanni. So any one of them can help you out. And then there is a question about the 10% discount as far as if it's not currently sold by the Aetna Medicare supplements, not currently sold in Connecticut. We'll have to get back to you on that question to find out when that product's being approved, or if it's on the docket to be approved. And let me see if I have any other questions, Mark.
Know that. Those are great questions. Keep them coming. Those are really good questions.
So there is a question: if an agent has a number with Aetna for the MA product, can they sell this final expense? And they still have to get that additional appointment, because the MA is a separate contract. So you just have to reach out to us and get appointed, get that second appointment with this CVS Health final expense product. So. Let's see, that looks like that ends the questions for today, Mark. So everybody on today's call, I just want to thank you again on behalf of Premier for joining us today. It was a great call, a lot of interaction. Hopefully you see the value in the product, and we're excited to get you set up with the CVS Health final expense product to make sure you have that available for your clients. Again, just reach out to one of our marketers here at Premier. It's 1-800-365-8208, and we'd be happy to help. Thanks, everybody, for being on today's call. And Mark, thanks for presenting today.
Thank you. Have a good one.